Hi, I'm Marius from MS Photography. Welcome back to another episode of Digital Photography Today, the show where you will learn how to become the master of your camera. Now, in this week's episode, part 3 of Off-Camera Flash, we are going to basically do a little shoot. Now, if you haven't yet watched the first two parts, part 1, we talked about the gear, then please do so, where I explain, like for instance, the wireless trigger, the gel I've got here, the bracket that's going to hold your umbrellas like we've got there. I explain all the gear you will need. So watch that episode. And also part 2 is also very important, because in part 2 we talk about sync speeds and also how you do your settings. How do you control your ambient and your flash power? Because I've got a video light there, and that video light is on, so it's ambient light. That flash and that flash, it's not on until I, for instance, take this button and I press this here. You should be able to see the flashes fire. So the flash and the ambient light are separate. If you don't know how to control those two, it becomes a little bit tricky. So watch part 2 where I explain how you control both those light sources. Okay, now before we do the shoot today, I've got a little bit less space with this tripod and that one and the video light, and I need to walk around there, so I've only got one video light on for this video. It makes the image a little bit grainy, but it's still fine. And I've got a switch there for that video light, because I'm going to have to turn the video light off soon. The second picture we're going to take is going to be a flash image with a long exposure. So I want to show you how you can create some cool stuff by combining those two. Again, you're balancing the two light sources. So I want to show you that, but I need to turn the video light off, so it's going to be pitch black in here. Now for me to see where I'm walking around, I've got an LED video light at the back of the room facing against the wall, but it's at its most dimmest light setting. It's so that I can walk around and don't fall over the tripod, because it will be otherwise pitch black in here. Okay, so for the settings and then for what I've got here, on this light stand here, you can see here's the bracket. It can hold my umbrella, and it's holding this everything here at the top. Now here I've got the Cactus version 4 receiver. I use them in the studio basically all the time. They work, don't give me any problems, so I love them. So here I've got the receiver. On top of that, I've got the Nikon SP800 speed light, and I've got the power setting, I think it was quarter power. Let's see, yes, they're both this flash and that one is exactly the same, so it's set to quarter power. And then also I've set the zoom of the flash. I've set it to wide. I think it's 24mm, I think, if I remember correctly. Yes, it's 24mm, because I want this light to shoot very wide. You'll notice on your flash you've got a zoom function. When you press the zoom function, you zoom the head of the flash. I didn't talk about that in the other two episodes, so I might as well just mention it now. When you change the zoom level of your flash, you can control if your flash needs to shoot very wide, so it basically needs to do that, shoot a lot of blue light all over the place, or if you want it zoomed in, so it's basically firing more that way, and it basically limits the light going to the side. Okay, then on top of it, I've got a Velcro strap, and then Honel Photos Just Blue filter. You can use, or gel, you can use basically cellophane if you want to, or anything. I've chosen blue because I'm going to bring in an extra light, which is this one. Now this is the light I'm going to use for the long exposure. It's called, if I remember correctly, EL wire, or electric wire. When you turn it on, you should be able to see it turns blue. Then I've turned it on to basically just flicker every now and then. I think this one flickers faster. And if I hold this here, you should be able to hear it's got a very high-pitched noise. Okay, so this is the light I'm going to be using to create the effect in my shot. Now those lights I bought on eBay. You should be able to get them all over the place. I think it's called EL wire. Just Google it. You get all different kinds of colors, as well as they also sell the different size lengths. So I bought a bunch of these of all different colors, and I use them in my long exposures. Okay, then the camera, I've got the Nikon D7000 there. You'll also notice here is the Cactus 4 transmitter. So you'll notice when I press the button, you can see the flash is firing, or the flashes are firing. Then on this light stand, I've got the SP900 speed light, also with the Cactus 4 receiver. That one's also set to quarter power, so both the same. But I've got on here a white shoot-through umbrella. So that's going to make the light just a little bit softer. I don't want to blast myself with full-on hard light. So I'm going to use an umbrella to make the light a little bit softer. Now, I'm first going to shoot one picture. I'm going to talk about the settings now. I'm going to shoot one picture where I'm not having this light in the picture, to show you what it's going to look like without the effect. Now the first image obviously will have this blue light fall on me. So it will light this side here, it will fall on my hand, or it'll be all over the place, the light coming from this side. And then obviously that light, because I'm going to be standing like this in the shot. So basically I'm going to conjure this blue light. That's why that's there. I'm going to first show you just the image without adding in the long exposure. Okay, so that will add the soft light on me here. And for the camera settings, now because this is a self-portrait, what I've done is I've already taken actually the tripod that the recording video camera is on. I basically put the tripod here and I focused on the letters Manfrotto of the tripod, because this is where I'll be standing. And I made sure, actually I added here where my hand will be. So I focused here, and then I'm using f13 to give me lots of depth, so that at least I know I've got some space to move around if I may be a little bit forward or a little bit too far behind, because it will be dark in here when we'll be working, especially with the long exposure. So I'm giving myself some depth by using f13 and not something like f2.8 or f4 or something. Because I could have taken the shot that my hand is in focus and then I'm blurred, obviously. So you'll notice my hand will be the sharpest because this is where the tripod was, where I focused on, and I will be a little bit blurrier, but it actually works out very nice because this is obviously the focus point. It's the blue light I'm conjuring. Okay, and I've got my spectacles here that I just got. Glasses or spectacles, not sure which is the right word for it. This is still freaking me out. I'm not very comfortable with this. So, yeah. Something I guess I need to get used to, and also the new fin look, which I haven't got lots of comments from on the page. So leave some comments down below. Damn, I changed a lot, eh? Okay, so I'll be having that on, and I might then have that Harry Potter look. We'll see. Okay, so for the shutter speed, now I first want to cut out all ambient light, so I can leave that light on, the video light. It's perfectly fine. So I'll have my shutter speed at 2/100th of a second. Now in part 2 we talked about the sync speed, and you know if I go over my sync speed I'm going to get those black bars. If you haven't watched part 2, watch it, it'll explain exactly what those black bars are. So I'm going to shoot at 2/100th of a second, and then I will have an image that consists out of only flashlight. So I can have all the lights, even the room lights on here, turned on. I won't see it on the shot, believe me. F13 at 2/100th of a second. You need like 30 seconds to pick up light. Okay, especially 30 if that light's turned off. But you're going to need a few seconds to pick up that video light. Not exactly sure how many, but a few seconds. So you'll basically cut all the ambient light out. Then the ISO I've got on ISO 320. Now the reason for that is I don't want to shoot at full power flashes. So I decided to shoot on quarter power, and then I had to increase my ISO a little bit so I can get more of the light that's coming off the flashes to actually go into the camera. Okay, so let's first just take the basic shot. Now what I've done, it's going to make sure both flashes are turned on. I've also turned on the self timer. So basically shot, just let me get my Harry Potter goggles. The first shot will be something like this. So I'll basically have a look at it like this, and I'll be conjuring this blue flame. So if I look here at the back, yes, that's what I had in mind. Okay, so that's at the first basic shot. So what I want to do now is I want to turn the video light off, and then this will be my new ambient light. So the shot we got now was just the two light sources. So we have that light, which I used to fool me, so you can see me perfectly. And then I had a blue light which fell over my shoulders here. Now I want to bring in that light from behind. The thing I actually wanted to use in this episode, I think I mentioned it in the previous episode, I wanted to use the smoke machine. So the smoke machine is this one right here. So here's the smoke machine. But then I also need to time the smoke machine with the smoke and the self timer. And since I'm recording, I'm talking everything, I know I can multitask, but that's a lot to multitask. So I'm going to leave that one out. And I'm only going to add the blue light. It's going to add a lot to the picture when we bring this into the shot. Now I'm going to hang this here, just clip it onto my jeans here, and let it hang there, because obviously I'm going to have my hand like this when I take the picture. So I won't have it in my hand. Now I don't want to move my hand when I take the next shot. My hand must be at the same spot, so I can bring the light in here and I can move the light up and down, so that brings this blue flame I'm conjuring. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to take my shutter speed and I'm going to take it to, I'm going to give myself 30 seconds. Now when I turn this video light off, 30 seconds is quite a lot. So now it should be almost pitch black in here. And I'm just going to maneuver past all these tripod legs. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take the shot. Remember, the camera is already focused. I don't need to focus again. And I'm going to move into position. Hold my hands exactly where I want it. And then I've got enough time. I've got 30 seconds. Oops, I almost removed my audio microphone. Wrong clip. Okay, so I've put this in place in my hand. I've got the light on. And now I'm moving this up and down on my hands, turning it off, taking it out of the shot. Now I can wait for the 30 seconds to pass, or I can actually just turn my camera off. It's fine. Turn it back on, look at my shot, and there it is. Awesome. There is the ambient light as well as the flashes. I'm just going to turn this video light on here so you can see me again. And take the Harry Potter spectacles off, because like I said, I'm not yet comfortable with those guys. Okay, so what happened with that shot is when the flashes went off, it froze all my detail. The blue light fell on me here, this white light lit me up here, and that was already exposed because the lights made sure of that. So if the lights were turned on, or turned off, the video light was turned off, and for 30 seconds, nothing happened in here, the shot would have been exactly the same as the shot that we took at 2/100ths of a second. Why? Because there's no light in here. Nothing else will happen. The camera will just go on for 30 seconds doing nothing. So then I brought in this, which I had here on my jeans, and I'm just going to get this thing out again. So what I did was I took it out and I basically put it in my hand like this. Now I mustn't move my hand from the shot, because then obviously the light will be at a different space or different place. So I basically just hold it like that, turn it on, and then I did this. And when I did this, the light obviously now recorded all my movement, all the lights which are on. The camera recorded all the movements from this, and then when I thought, okay, I made enough movements, I turned it off, and I just walked out of the picture. Now I could have left the camera to continue its 30-second exposure if I really wanted to, because there's nothing here. The camera doesn't see anything, so it picked up the flashes, which put me in the frame, and it picked up that blue light, which created the flame for the shot, but nothing else will now happen. So I just turned it off. I just gave myself enough time for maybe dropping something or something not moving into place properly. I couldn't, you get the drift. So I just gave myself a little bit more time for, if there's errors, that I can still move slowly and get everything into place. So that's that. It's that simple. Once you're in a studio, if you understand your shutter speeds and your apertures, and you know that your shutter speed controls your ambient and your aperture controls your flash power, you can create some amazing things in your house. You don't need a studio space even. Just use your living room. Put something together. Hang a black cloth. This is just a piece of black material. Just hang it on your curtain railings and start to build something. Put a person in the picture if you want to. Start to build your picture, because you can do amazing stuff with the most basic gear the moment you understand your equipment. Okay, so that's all for this week's episode, and I know you really enjoyed it, I'm sure about that. So what do you need to do? You need to press that or click that button and subscribe and get all these awesome videos as I release them. And then I'll see you again for the next episode, which will be on tabletop photography. So see you again next week. Bye.